Hey guys, I hope y'all are staying safe and warm and enjoying your time at home with your family. So today what we are going over is reflections on a coordinate plane. So we have done translation, where it slides around up, down, left, right, or rotation, like where it rotates around the origin. Okay, we've done that. Today we're talking about reflection, which remember is like a flip. You can reflect over the y-axis or you can reflect over the x-axis from top to bottom. So let's go ahead and look at number 1. They're going to tell you which axis to go across. So this one says reflect across the y-axis. So that means this y-axis right here is like our mirror. That's like our line of reflection, what we're going to flip over. Okay. So I know that this triangle is now going to flip over to this side. And it should look like a mirror image from one quadrant into the next. It should be like a mirror. So let's start with this first point here. This is over 4, up 4. So this ordered pair here is 4, 4. And I'm going to write these out just so that we can kind of see the patterns that we discover along the way, okay? Right here, we go over 3, up 0. So this point is called 3, 0. And then right here, we go left and right, 0, up 2. So this point would be 0, 2. I'm going to go ahead and highlight my y-axis just to kind of showcase that that is where my reflection should be. It should go from quadrant 1, flip over into quadrant 2. So let me get back to I'm going to do the points the same color as they are, red. It really doesn't matter. But so instead of going to the right 4, up 4, this time we're going to be going to the left 4, up 4. And that point is negative 4, 4. Okay, so instead of going to the right 3, up 0, I'm going to be going to the left 3, up 0, which would be called negative 3, 0. Then instead of going, really, we're going left or right 0, up 2. So it's going to actually end up being at the same exact point. So about right there. So it's still going to be 0, 2. So before I tell you what the rule is, can you determine what changed from our original points to our prime points or our prime shape? What you should notice is that the x value changes signs. So x becomes the opposite sign. So our rule here, I'm going to go ahead and type it. We started with points xy, just normal xy. And that becomes my x value change signs. So negative x and y stayed the same. So that was my rule. And if we think back, what was the operation that happened? It was a reflection over y, over the y-axis. So this is kind of interesting. When you reflect over y, your x value becomes opposite. Okay, on the next problem, number 2, we are reflecting across the x-axis. So since this is our x-axis, I'm going to highlight it right here. This is going to be like our line of reflection. Make it kind of neater than the last one. And so I want you to make a prediction right here. If when we flip over the y-axis, our x value becomes opposite because we're going from left to right, which is x, then when we reflect across the x-axis and our up and down value becomes opposite, what do you think our rule will look like? So if you thought that maybe when we reflect across x that our y value changes, you're right. So let's kind of discover this. And I want to do it in a little bit different order this time, just so you can see it another way, okay? Notice how this point here is 1 unit away from your mirror line, your reflection line. Your new point is going to be 1 unit away this way. So I'm not going to really talk about ordered pairs this time. The first problem, that's kind of where we worked from. Now from here, you're 2 away from the line. So you're going to stay on this value here, but go up 2 instead of down 2. Okay, here we are 4 units away. So we're going to go 4 units in this direction. And then here we're also 4 units away from the reflection line, so we're going to go up 4 units in this direction. All right, and so what we see here is the same shape. Oh, that doesn't look good. Let me draw with my mouse again. We see a very, I was going to say similar, but they're not similar. We see the exact same shape, a congruent shape, same size, but it's flipped over. Okay, it's like upside down. So now that we know that, let's kind of dig into what the points are. My original points were -1, -1, -1, -4, -3, -2, and -4, -4. Those were our original points. So we're going to compare those to our new points that we got when we flipped over the x-axis. So instead of -1, -1, we actually went -1, +1. There we go. -1, +1. Then we went -1 up 4. So +4 there. We went -3 up 2. And then we went -4 up 4. So just like we predicted earlier, our y values here went from negative to positive. So they are the values that became the opposite. So if we were going to create a rule, reflection over x-axis, our original points that are in xy form turn into x stays the same, y becomes opposite value. Okay, so there's a general rule for you. Make sure you write these 2 rules down because you're going to be using those throughout the lesson today. You have just a few more practice problems, okay? They're very similar. Then when you get to this section here, this is kind of like an extension activity. We have our rules up here. When we reflect over x-axis, your y turns opposite. So you're going to write that for yourself here. And I will go ahead and start that. We're going over x-axis, so x stays the same and y becomes negative. Let me kind of move that to the center. Okay, another rule would be when we flip over y-axis, our x changes values and our y stays the same. So there's your rules. You're going to want to keep those as you do this. Now, so let's look here. -1, reflected over the x-axis. We know that the y value is going to flip, so it's going to turn into -1, +1. So here's how this activity works. You're going to draw a line from here all the way to -1, +1. Now, one of the difficulties with this on a computer, so your line is not going to be very straight. So do the best you can. We're going to draw a straight line through, and it looks like the only letter I hit is C. So down here, when we see a number 1, we're going to put a C. Okay, so try to do that. I'm actually going to give extra credit for this assignment. So a lot of you would benefit from starting out the 6 weeks with extra credit. That's an awesome way to get off on a good foot. I hope y'all are staying warm, staying inside, maybe going out a little bit, but don't get too cold. I love y'all, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.